Hi everyone, and welcome to a series of short videos that I've created to make the EcoS program better known and also to help you studying EcoS and various aspects of it. My name is Rüdiger Frank. I'm professor of East Asian Economy and Society at the University of Vienna. And yeah, I will try to share some of my thoughts with you by this means so that you can watch whenever you like and as many times as you like, and you can pause. And also nobody can say that nobody told you, which I think is also important. And that brings us right into the topic of today, which is why study EcoS, or is the EcoS Masters the right choice for you? Now, before we start, obviously there are different reasons why people choose to study at the university. One reason, and my impression is that this is actually kind of vanishing a little bit in terms of relative importance, is simply in order to gain knowledge. This is why universities actually have been created in the first place, as places where children, usually sons of rich families, who didn't really have to worry about making a living, getting a job or something, where they could spend a little time between school and actual work, broaden their intellectual horizon, meet other people, get drunk, and all the rest of it. Think about Faust and Goethe and, all the student parties and all this. Now, obviously, this has changed in the last years, and that's certainly something that is a very positive development. Studying at a university is now a phenomenon, basically a mass phenomenon. In some countries you have 40, 50, 60, 70% participation rate. You have more than 90% of kids getting a high school diploma, and then of course many of them move on to university. In Austria the numbers are a little lower, and I'm not quite sure whether that's a bad thing, but they are still pretty high, so we'll still talk about 30 to 40% or something. So we have these two groups, right? We have one group of people who are just there to enlarge their intellectual horizon and to learn something for learning's sake. And we have those who have more, let's say, trivial or profane reasons to study at university, basically in order to get something like a higher level vocational training, the entrance into their professional life. And I assume that most of you, not all of you, but most of you belong to that second category. So please keep this in mind. This informs like the way how I am trying to explain the advantages and disadvantages of this master's program to you today. Okay, the first three important things to do: read the curriculum, and then read it again and read it again, and really read it in the sense of trying to understand what it means. It's not so complicated, it's no rocket science. We have only 5 modules. There's a separate video explaining the curriculum. The curriculum is on our website, the EcoS website, which has been designed in a way that we hope is very user-friendly, where all the necessary information for prospective students, current students, and so on can be found easily. So please read it. It's unbelievable how many young people choose a program to study based only on the title. But I mean, now that I say it that way, it is kind of, well, bizarre, if you want to be nice, or let's just say it's plain stupid, You basically buy a box of chocolates and you don't know what's inside. Yeah, it's a bit like Forrest Gump, I know. Don't do that, okay? Open the box. We are extremely transparent. We tell you relatively clearly what will happen during those 2 years, and you should read this in advance before you decide to even think further and prepare your application materials and whatnot. The same applies for all other study programs, by the way. So do not be blinded by a nice title, or actually do not be scared away by a bad or not so attractive looking title. Open the box, look inside, look at the single modules, the single courses, the contents of what you are taught and what you're not taught, what you will learn and what you will not learn, and then make a decision. And we will come back to that. So please, first of all, even before you continue this video maybe, or right afterwards, after finishing it, please, I beg you, in your own interest and in mine, read the curriculum so that you better know what's going on and what is in store for you. All right. And now I'm going to give you something that we call my cappuccino speech. I'll do that in two parts. Yeah, as you will get to know me, you will see that I always try to come up with these funny comparisons to make things easier to understand. Sometimes it works. Sometimes I have the impression that I just make things worse and confuse people. Let's see how it works out with this analogy here. Anyhow, as I said, if you think about studying EcoS, you usually have already graduated from either a BA program or even an MA program. Some of you might even have PhDs, but that's a very small number. But in any case, since EcoS is offered only as a master's program, you must have studied something before. That is important to keep in mind because it will determine to a significant degree whether EcoS is really the best choice for you or not. If you care about improving your attractiveness on the job market, like the second group of people I described in the beginning, you can go for two strategies, basically. You can become even better at what you've already done, like, you went to business school and now you do an MBA, or you broaden your profile and supplement and enlarge it in a way, right? And the first option would be a double espresso. So you already are an espresso and you just add another espresso. So it's the same thing, but more of it and, better in a way, deeper. A cappuccino is a different thing, A cappuccino is the solid quality of an espresso or the coffee combined with the attractiveness of foamed milk. Now, foamed milk is not really, it's not doing anything. It doesn't keep you awake or whatever. It doesn't fight the feeling of hunger or whatever you drink coffee for. But it looks nice, right? And I think a cappuccino is one of the most sold coffee varieties because of this combination. And you have some chocolate on top maybe, and a funny image maybe also in that foamed milk, etc. But let's be honest, it's the combination that makes a cappuccino. Only a cup full of foamed milk, I don't think that would sell pretty well. A cappuccino, therefore, is still a coffee. It's still an espresso, but it looks better and offers an additional value. There's no doubt about it. But it would be nothing without a coffee. So let's say you're a biologist, or you can enter your own profile if you're a political scientist or an economist or a baker or whatever you are. With an EcoS MA, then you will still be a biologist or whatever you are, but with an additional qualification that few people from your original group actually have. And this is what we are actually aiming for. We are aiming for espressos whom we can make more attractive. So for example, if you do have a degree in chemistry and you do the EcoS MA, that will really help you a lot because there are so many people with a chemistry degree and they all do whatever these people do. And that's what you still are in that case, but you are also somebody who knows something about East Asia, and that will make you stick out of this group of people. The thing is, there is the other group of people too, and now you have to decide which one you belong to, and that's why I call this slide the moment of truth. What do you have in your own cup? Just take a close look at yourself. What are you? Is it foamed milk that you have in your cup? Something that's really cool and rare and helps you stick out, and not many people study it, but it doesn't really help you to define who you are on the job market, then maybe EcoS is not the best choice for you. If you have coffee in your cup, like political science, business, physics, mathematics, engineering, medicine, law, you name it, like these espresso type programs, if that's in your cup, and if you do not want to deepen that but actually add something else, if you want to distinguish yourself from the other graduates of law school, business school, and so on, then EcoS might indeed be the right choice for you. If you don't know what you are, and I understand that this is easy to say from a theoretical point of view, but once you look at yourself, it might not be that easy. Why don't you pretend to apply for a job? Go to an online job portal, there are so many of them, and try to enter your profile, or even not that, just try to pick a job. You have these scroll down menus there, right? Or drop down menus, and you will see that there are some buzzwords. If you find yourself clearly in one of them, then you are very likely to be an espresso or a coffee already. Like if you know exactly which box to actually tick, which category you belong into. If you have no idea, or if your self-description doesn't appear there, then chances are pretty good that you are actually foamed milk. And mind you, there's nothing wrong about foamed milk. It's only half of a cappuccino, right? And if you agree that a cappuccino is an attractive mix, then you should probably think about adding the part that is missing and not adding more of what you already have and then hoping that magically you will become a cappuccino. No, that's not how it works. Life can be pretty brutal, and facts are facts, right? So if you have foamed milk in your cup, do not add more, because EcoS is going to do exactly that. We will add lots of foamed milk and chocolate and whatever. Very little coffee. I'm telling you how it is, you know? Anyway, so please do this. Take your time, make that test, and figure out who you are, and then think further. Because this is what EcoS will not offer you. And I actually decided to start with this before on the next slide telling you what we will offer you, because I'm not here to convince everybody to come and join, only then to see that this was the wrong choice and you are disappointed, or you just invested your time of your life, and this is, I mean, the most valuable thing you have, right? Our clock is ticking for everybody. I don't know how many MA programs you will finally study, so this might be the one and only, so you really have to make a good choice. And I want to support you in making the right choice. And I'm not trying to convince you to study EcoS by all means, because all I do is care about student numbers. That's simply not the case. I care about you. I care about offering you not just the best program I can offer, but also the best program that you need. You know, and these needs are very different, and the only one who can determine that is yourself. Okay, now, therefore, we start with what we cannot offer you. If you think about it, it's no rocket science. A master's program in Vienna, in Austria, lasts 2 years. In some countries, it's only 1 year. Look, how much can you learn in 1 or 2 years? A lot, there's no doubt about it. Everything? No way. Absolutely no way. And if you then look at, yeah, now I'm contradicting myself, but look at the name of the program, right? East Asian. I'm not saying Japanese or Chinese, which in itself would be a joke because these are big countries, right? No, it's East Asia, and we understand East Asia as China, Japan, the 2 Koreas, plus the 10 countries of ASEAN to a certain degree, plus probably Mongolia, plus in a way also the far east of Russia, right? How much can you learn in terms of depth, you know, about such a huge region? You can learn a lot about it. Can you learn everything? Can you learn something that makes you a real specialist, like someone who can really appear on television and answer every question? Okay, that is possible because you don't need to know much, I know, but you're getting my point here, okay? So we are talking about a vast region. And now it gets even worse, economy. What the hell is economy? Is that economics, microeconomics, macroeconomics, economic policy? Is it business, like, you know, accounting, or I don't know, business law, legal regulations, or is it marketing or logistics, or what is it? And society, to make things even worse, because society is really everything else that I have not mentioned yet. So you see the name of the program already gives away our approach. It's a very, very broad thing that we offer you. If that's what you want, perfect. But we do not offer you to become a specialist on all these things, because that is technically impossible. And I think it's not just technically impossible 2 years, I think it's technically impossible in 10 years, right? There are people who study Japan for 2 or 3 decades and still only scratch the surface. So studying EcoS is not like studying economics or political science. We very often have students coming from Chinese, Japanese, Korean studies who think that, maybe I should add a little bit of economics to my profile. Then for God's sake, study economics, please. Do not study EcoS, because, yeah, we will give you something in that regard, but not the whole package. You will not be able to call yourself an economist after that. Certainly not. Also not a political scientist. Yes, we do offer courses in international relations and political systems and so on. But this is not like comparable to a whole political science program with all the methodology and so on, right? We do offer a structured approach to thinking and research. So whatever we do is strictly theory-based, it's method-based, it's disciplinary-based, but without a focus on one single specialized methodology. So you will actually scratch the surface of many of those approaches, but this is it. I should say because I created that program, my idea of a university is a bit old-fashioned. It's like giving students, or opening doors for my students, but you have to walk through this door. I will not lead you through it. We mention certain theories, we mention certain methodologies. We do not teach all of them, partly because we don't have the time to do so, partly because we are not even ourselves full experts in all these things, right? But you will get the necessary buzzwords, and if you are intelligent and active enough, then this will be exactly what it takes. And then you know, okay, he just said something about neorealism, interesting. Let me go to the library and get a book about neoliberalism, and suddenly you understand that there is much more to it. Or hey, he talked about regression analysis. What the hell is that? There is no course on quantitative methods in EcoS, but there are courses on quantitative methods at the University of Vienna. So I can go there. Or actually, there are YouTube classes on that, so you don't even have to enroll in a university. There are books and whatnot, right? This is the approach that we take. It is necessarily broad. It is broad and thereby necessarily shallow, but it offers you many options, opens many doors through which you can walk. It's not like this very straightforward thing that you will get in a specialized program. Also, EcoS is not like studying a single country. So if you're interested in China, study Chinese studies, please. We do not offer you a light version of Chinese studies, Japanese studies, and Korean studies. We will do a little bit of that. We will offer you comparisons and so on. But if you know you're interested in one specific country, forget about EcoS. Go for a master's or another bachelor in that particular field, okay? East Asian economy and society. Is there a language called East Asian language? No, it doesn't exist. Yeah, okay, you could argue that it's the Sinosphere and, knowing Chinese helps. Yeah, of course, that does help a lot. It helps you as much as, speaking or knowing Latin or Greek will help you in Europe, but it's not exactly the same thing, right? So you cannot study East Asian. We work comparatively. You will learn a lot about similarities and differences, but you will not learn too much about the single societies, as you also see here on that slide. The same applies for the methodology. If you're really mostly interested in economics, study economics, please. Or if you're interested in political science, study political science. EcoS is for those who are interested in many of those things and who are aware that this will be very broad but not very deep. I think I repeated that now, 5 or 6 times, so hopefully the message has reached you. Okay, but it's not like we do nothing, right? I mean, I cannot create a program and then tell you that it's really crappy and no good for nothing. Of course, I'm deeply convinced that this is a fantastic program. It's incredible. And the feedback we get from our students, current students, but also graduates, is actually largely very, very, very positive, especially if they understood what they have been doing from the very beginning. It's a fantastic program. I mean, it's unique, exactly this approach, which is in a way risky also, right? It's safer, if you specialize, then nobody can attack you. But what we do is we deal with so many issues, basically opening up struggles on so many fronts, that's sometimes not so easy. But hey, when the going gets tough, the tough gets going, and that's us. So that's a challenge that we happily take on. So that's what we offer you. We have a multidisciplinary approach. So we do not just focus on one discipline. We look at many disciplines. We look at them not just separately, but we also try to combine that. Because we take a holistic approach. That is, we look at these societies as a whole, not just at single aspects of them. Therefore, and I dare saying that we take a culturalist approach. We do believe that there are rules of the game in a society that are culturally determined. If you know a bit about institutionalism in economics or constructivism possibly in political science, that is pretty closely related. Although everyone kind of shuns the word culture because it has been so overused, and it's so, yeah, it's a bit, how do I say, out of fashion. But it depends on how you define it anyway. So we do believe that theories are highly important, meta-theories created with the purpose of being universally applicable, like not just in one country, but to mankind, assuming that all humans are basically similar or the same to a certain degree. All societies are societies. But on top of that, all these societies, of course, differ due to their historically shaped cultural experiences. And this is what we try to integrate in our program. That's why we focus on context. We do not look at single issues. We try to see how they are connected. We look at connections within the country, but also beyond countries, focusing on the East Asian region. We look at comparisons. You will see that we do many comparisons, and actually most of the master's thesis that you will eventually write will be comparative master's thesis. Because from looking at similarities and differences, you can really learn a lot, both about the country that you look at, but also about the higher level of abstraction, if you like, which we would call the region, right? There are limits to that. There are certain things that are essentially universal and not just regional. But we have, of course, some regional characteristics. I mentioned the sinosphere, I mentioned the influence of Confucian thinking, and everything that is kind of related to it. But we also have geopolitical aspects that matter, or geoeconomic aspects that bind the region together. Like, for example, China as the center of gravity in an economy, or the Korean Peninsula as one of the hotspots of international relations and a potential area for the emergence of conflict. And there is no shortage of such conflict-prone areas in East Asia. I mean, think about the South China Sea, Taiwan, but also the Northern Territories or Kuril Islands, this conflict between Japan and Russia, and so on and so on. Or Tokto, which the Japanese call Takeshima, islands between Japan and Korea. And again, this is endless. I don't even want to open this. The North Koreans and the Chinese have, and I think, still kind of unresolved territorial conflict even about their border, although they stopped talking about it since about the Cultural Revolution. So yeah, we have these regional issues, and that's what we will also look at. You will get to know one of the East Asian languages, but I say you will get to know it, really. This is all. You will not be able to speak it or read it. You will take 1 year of language, and yeah, you call that a meet and greet, if you like. You get to know the language, but is it? But you can either say, okay, that's fine, now I understand that the Japanese actually have hiragana and katakana for writing. and that they also use kanji or Chinese characters, but these are not exactly the same characters as they are written in China, and they are different from the ones written in Korea, and there are different readings, on and kun readings of those characters, and so on and so on. But you will also have a foundation for perhaps moving on. I think the first year of learning a language is sometimes the hardest. You need more explanations also in your native language. Once you've got that, it's easier to go to the actual country where your language of interest is spoken and to continue there. This will not be done within the EcoS program, but it's a foundation that we provide you. And then you can decide whether you want to move on or not. So that's another door that we open for you, right? It's all these doors opening. Can you hear them clapping, right, in your mind? You will be introduced also to a variety of theoretical approaches, mainly in economics and political science, but we also have a module M4 that is much broader. So we have, for example, Introduction to East Asian Religions as an option, not mandatory, it's an option that you can take, and many, many others. We really try to make good use of what is at offer at the University of Vienna, which is a fantastic place. It's the largest university in Austria, with about 100,000 students, a little less, perhaps 90,000. And there are so many courses that you can take. And whenever there's something related to East Asia, we usually make it available also to our students, also in terms of, being recognized in terms of ECTS credits and all the rest of it. You will experience a great variety of course types also, simply from a didactic point of view. We will have stuff that is more like what I'm doing right now. It's more like a lecture type thing, not very interactive, where it's not really a lot of kind of applying methodology or something that is taught, but more empirics, like data, facts, perhaps connections, and so on, arguments, ideas. But we also have seminars where you will be actually asked to form teams with other students, which is sometimes nice, sometimes frustrating if you are with a free rider and you have to find out how to manage that. There's a lot of pressure, of course, for preparing these assignments and so on. You will be asked to write term papers. Don't worry, those term papers you write just by yourself. But this is hard enough because we will really, really try to push you to work methodologically sound and structured. These will almost be really scientific academic papers. For some of you, this will be quite a challenge because you haven't done that before, but it will open another door, a way of approaching problems, a way of solving problems, etc. More on that you can see in my video on how to study the EcoS MA, which is also available on YouTube. And read the curriculum, read the curriculum, read the curriculum. Really, I can't repeat myself often enough. This is absolutely essential. Okay, that's it. I hope this was helpful. I really do. Now take your time to decide whether EcoS is the right thing for you or not. Be aware that this is an important decision. You should not make this between 2 cups of coffee or so. This will determine the next year, the next years, or maybe the rest of your life even. So you need to be honest to yourself. It's okay to, well, I call it lie. I know it's a tough word, but not be entirely honest, let me put it this way, to other people out of courtesy, whatever, politeness. But don't be polite to yourself, really. Be strictly, brutally honest. Ask yourself, who am I? What do I really want? What do I need to reach this? Whatever you want. Become rich, become famous, find a safe job, or more specifically, find a job that allows you to go to East Asia, find a job that allows you to work with people, whatever it is. Also think about the cappuccino. What do I need to become a cappuccino? Do I have an espresso in my cup? Is it okay to add some foamed milk? Or do I have foamed milk in my cup? Do I need more coffee? What do I already have? What am I still lacking? And then will EcoS help me to fill that gap? Once you've identified it, then look at EcoS and ask yourself, is that the right thing? And maybe EcoS will help you to fill that gap, but is EcoS the best option to fill that gap? Or are there better programs that will help you even better, even more effectively to reach what you want? Then you make an informed decision. And if the outcome of that decision is EcoS, fantastic. In any case, we really look forward to welcoming you. On the process, on how to apply for EcoS, etc., please again consult our website, which is always kept up to date. These regulations, they sometimes change, due dates change, etc. That's why I'm not talking about this in a video, but you find it on our webpage. And yeah, after you made that informed decision, after you decided EcoS is the right thing for you, we are more than happy to go on that journey with you and to offer you the best we can to reach your goals. For now, thank you very much for your time and attention, and have a good day. Bye.